All right. Okay, so again, when you try to evaluate the function, you just plug in the given values to find the corresponding output. Okay? All right, I'm going to clear the ink so we can move on to the second portion. For the second one, okay, so let n of t be the number of DVDs that you have in your collection after making t trips to the video store. And you have to explain the meaning of each statement. Okay, so pretty much they are written in symbols and you have to come up with your story based on the symbol. So for example, let's say I have n of 0 is equal to 8. So the number inside the parentheses, t is the number of trips you make. So this means you haven't visited the store yet. Okay, then n is the number. So n is equal to 8. So what could be a possible story for this? So I could say I have 8, DVDs before visiting the store. There you go. So you initially had 8 DVDs. In the same way as you remember the piggy bank problem. You guys remember the piggy bank problem that we did? Okay, when Samantha started saving, right? Okay. Yes, we do everything in our notebook for this worksheet. And then you guys will answer the even ones later on your notebook. Okay. And then I will enter a column in which you can put in your answers in Schoology so we can check it for completeness. You can take a picture of your notebook and upload it there. Yeah? So we'll do that. Okay, so make sure you have everything on paper. Okay, let's try one more from number 7 and then you guys will do the other letters for homework. So let's try letter C. How can we make a story for letter C? N of 5 is greater than n of 3. So remember the n is the number of DVDs, right? After you make t trips to the video store. So then how will you write a story for letter C? Can somebody either unmute herself, himself, or type in the chat? So you're now comparing the amount of DVDs you have after making 5 trips and after making 3 trips. Okay, so how do you make a story for that? Who would like to try? So when do you have more DVDs? Is it when you made 5 visits or when you made 3 visits to the store? When you made 5 visits. That's good. So just put that in a sentence. So you can say, I had more DVDs, okay, when I made 5 trips to the store than when I made only 3 visits. Okay. Or it could also be a comparison between two people. One person visited the store 5 times, okay, and that person ended up to have, ended up with more DVDs than another person who visited the store only 3 times. Right? Okay, so you guys are going to come up stories like that for letters B and C. Later on, you guys are going to try that. Okay? And don't think of like a super mathematical answer. We're not like trying to solve anything there. So we're just kind of explaining it in our own words what it exactly means in the context of DVDs and trips, okay? So don't overthink it. All right. Okay, so I'm going to clear the ink now. I hope you had enough time to write that down. For those who just joined us, we're doing 3.3 function notation. It is in Schoology, and they're writing their answers down on a piece of paper. For letter D, you're trying to get the difference this time. So in letter C, you're comparing the amounts, right? So this time you're getting the difference between, when you made this many trips and when you made this number of trips. Okay? So the keyword there is you're getting the difference. You're getting the difference. Okay, I'm going to clear the ink so we can move on to the next part. All right, so the next important part that you have to learn when working with function notations is finding the value of x when the output is already given. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so when they say the function has the given value, it means they have already given you the answer. So it's quite the opposite of what we did in number 1, right? So they already gave you the answer and they want you to figure out what number they substituted in order to arrive at that answer. So how do we do that? How do we write that down on our paper? We're doing odds, right? So I'll go 9. So let's say r of x is equal to 4x minus 3. So this is the function. This is the function. Now, the function value for some x that we don't know is 33, meaning they substituted something for x in the function and their answer was 33, and it's our job to find whatever that number was. So how do we do that? Okay, so if earlier we were plugging in the value for x, this time we are going to replace we are going to replace r of x by whatever value they gave us. Okay, so this output value will now replace the whole thing. So take note, if you write r of 33, that's wrong. Okay, that's wrong. So what are we trying to do? They already gave us the answer. This whole thing is 33. Like that, no more r, just 33. Okay, then equals, we bring this down, 4x minus 3. 4x minus 3. Okay. All right, so now what happens? We have to get the x by itself, yeah? We have to get the x by itself. So how will we do that? We have to move this 3 over. So we cancel the 3, and then we have to add 3 to 33. So we get 36 equals 4x. So what will be the value of x? What will be the value of x? Does 36 or does 4 divide 36 exactly? How much? So x is equal to what? 36 divided by 4 is 9. Very good. All right, so your answer is x is equal to 9. You can write that in standard form by placing the x on the left-hand side. There you go. Okay. Well, if you're not sure, you can double check. So you can go back here and say, oh, let me check if I'm right. 4 times 9, oh, that's 36. Minus 3, and yes, you get 33. Okay? That's great. How was that? Was that tricky? Did you somehow get that? Let's try another one, this time with a fraction, okay? Number 11. All right, so we're going to replace the whole w of x by negative 18. So this will take the place of the left-hand side. So we write negative 18 equals, let's copy the whole thing down, 5 over 6x minus 3. 5 over 6x minus 3. Okay. So now we need to get the x by itself again. We need to get the x by itself again. You can do this in 2 ways. If you don't like working with fractions, you multiply everything by 6 so you can get rid of the denominator. Okay? Or the simplest way is you add 3 over here. So add 3 to 18, and that will give you negative 15, right? Equals, just bring down 5 over 6x. Okay. Then, what do we do with the 6? We will multiply. We will cross multiply. So it was divided, so we do the opposite. We multiply negative 15 times 6 is equal to 5x, right? Okay, so what's negative 15 times 6? Is it 90? Yeah? Okay, and then after that, we divide both sides by 5. See, if you don't have a calculator, see what I'm doing? I just leave it that way. I just put them in a parentheses. Why? Because, well, maybe after dividing, you can make it simpler, right? So if you're taking tests like SBAC or SAT and stuff like that, in the non-calculator portion, you can do this trick. Don't multiply them together. Leave them as they are. So let's simplify. Negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. And even without a calculator, you can multiply negative 3 times 6, right? So that will be x is equal to negative 18. So that's the final answer. Okay, can't make a box over. Hey, honey. Kira, can you do me a favor? Can you get me a glass of water, please? Thank you. All right, so negative 18 is equal to x. So you can also put the x on the left-hand side. Okay? So another way to do that, as I mentioned earlier, this is also a very good trick if you don't know what to do, or if you're not comfortable working with fractions. If you don't like fractions, get rid of them. Get rid of them, right? So how? Well, you just multiply here by 6. But whatever you do to 1, you have to do to everything. There you go. Whatever you do to 1, you have to do to everything. So that will cancel out the 6 here, and you can just multiply them, right? What's 18 times 6? So 6 times 8 is 48, carry 4. So is it negative 108? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is equal to 5x minus 18. There you go. And then you do the same thing that we normally do. You add the 18 here, right? Cross that out and then add 18. So you will get 90 is equal to 5x. Negative because 108 is bigger. And we should be getting the same answer. So whatever you do, you get the same answer. Thanks, honey. All right. So go ahead and copy that down. I haven't eaten nor drank from when I woke up. I was too busy helping my kids, that's why. Already. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the ink. And let's move on to the next one. All right. Now we're graphing. Okay. Now some of you used decimals when you guys were graphing the museum homework. That's great. But, from time to time, I will ask you to graph on paper just so you can also practice that skill by hand. Okay, because, technology sometimes make it easy to graph, right? But we forget how to do it manually. So today we're going to do the graphing manually. Okay, so go ahead and set that up on your paper. I don't know how to graph on the homework. Okay. Is that on the museum problem? Yes? Okay. Let's see. When you say you didn't know how to graph, is it on paper or on decimals? So I could be more specific when I teach it to you on the decimals. Okay. All right. So let's do this and then we go to decimals after. Okay. All right. So to do this by hand, you guys are going to substitute first, right? You're going to substitute the x value, all of them one by one. So let's try this when x is -2. All right. So what will happen? This is multiply first. So -2 times -2 is +4, right? So that turns to positive. And then 1 plus 4 will become 5. Okay? That's the first number. Next, -1. -1. So what's -2 times -1? That will become +2. +2, then you add 1, so that will become 3. Are you getting me? Am I going too fast? You guys follow? Okay, you also have, yeah, you also have to understand how we're doing it. Okay, don't just copy. Okay, so now let's try 0. 2 times 0, that will just become 0. So 1 minus 0 will be 1. Okay, next, plug in 1. -2 times 1 will become -2. So 1 minus 2 will become -1. All right, next, 2. When x is 2, 2 times -2 will be -4. So 1 minus 4 is -3. Okay, that's how you complete the table. All right. So now let's try to graph them. This will become -2 comma 5. So where is that? You go down, or not go down. You go left 2, right? So go left 2 and then up 5. So left 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Next one. Left 1, 3 up. Left 1, 3 up. Okay? Next, when x is 0, you go up 1. And how do you know you're getting it right? You guys should see a pattern right here. You see this one? It's going down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Why? Because the slope here is, that's your mx plus b, right? So the slope is actually -2. So that means it's the same as -2/1. You go down 2 and then right 1. So that's what we mean by slope, or the steepness of the graph. Okay, let's try this again. 1, -1. 1 to the right, down 1. So check if you got it right. You should go down 2 from one point and then 1 right to go to the other. And that's correct so far. And you can predict where the next one will go. Down 2 and then right 1. So it should go over here. Did we get it right? When x is 2, your y is -3. Okay? And then you guys are going to connect that graph. I'll try my best to make it straight, but you can do a better job on the paper. There you go. Okay. So that's going to be the graph. All right. So how do you graph this in decimals? Um, don't open another window. I'll just demonstrate to you how you're going to do it so your device doesn't go slow, okay? Because mine is already slow with all the things that's open. Okay. So when you go to decimals, if you guys are typing the function for the art museum project, the art museum homework, you have to, so just watch this, okay? You don't have to write this down. I just want to demonstrate how you guys will use decimals. So, oh, you see how my device is now really slow. I think I have too many windows open. Let me see. Okay, so when you type in decimals, let's say, for example, the one that we were doing now, y is equal to 1 minus 2x. That's it. Okay? 1 minus 2x. So you type it as they are. Okay? If you're doing the museum problem, what was it again? You pay $50, and then for every visit, you add additional 15, right? And the variables that I asked you to use were m of v. So this is how you're going to write down the function. So the amount of money the museum will charge based on the number of visits that you make to the museum is 50 plus 15v. If you want to arrange it, it's actually m of v is equal to 15v plus 50. So how do you type that in decimals? When you type it in decimals, you have to change the variables to x and y. Okay, so this means this will become y is equal to 15x plus 50. Okay, so the output is always your y and the input is always your x. So if we type that here, we'll get y is equal to 15x plus 50. So you don't get confused, you can unclick on this colored circles over here excuse me, to hide the other graphs. So you see what you can do with decimals? There you go. So you can unclick them if you want to hide them to come up with a new one so you don't end up opening so many decimals all at once. If you click on them like that, there you go. Okay? All right. Did you guys get that? Okay. So, already. Okay, let me close this window so we can go back to what we were doing. Clear the ink. Okay, how many more? Your number 12 is yours, okay? You have to try number 12 on your own. So now let's go to the last one. Ooh. Oh, I should not have closed decimals. Anyway, okay, let's try this. So there's two savings account. Yours. Okay, let me write it down. So this is yours. It's B of M is equal to 50M plus 150. Okay. Now, I need to test you first whether you understand that function or not. Can you tell me how much money you had to begin with just by looking at what I wrote down? How much money did you have to begin with before you started saving monthly? Anyone? So look at this function that I wrote over here and tell me how much money you had at the beginning. So how much did you begin with? Okay, remember your piggy bank problem. Your piggy bank was 5x plus 60. And Samantha had $60 initially from her last birthday. Okay? In the museum one, you become a member for $50 and then you pay 15 per visit. Okay? All right, so the number that doesn't have a letter, that means something. That's your initial value. So in this problem we're solving now, can you tell me how much your initial amount was? Come on, type in the chat. How much was the original money? Very good, Giselle. Very good, Evelyn. Awesome. See, so I'm asking you that because I don't want you to, and every month she saves 40 or 50. Is that for the table is different, Louise? I think you're looking at this table over here, right? Okay, so that's right, Louise. Here, every month, is it 40? Yeah. Okay, so this one is going up by $80, right? $80. But this one is going plus 2. There you go. Remember the formula I taught you? The change in y is $80. If you divide that by the change in x, which is 2, I think this is where Louise got 40. But this is for your friends. Did you read the problem previously? The table shows your friend's savings account. This is yours. Okay? So your savings is the function, your friend's savings is the table. So Louise is right. Your friend is saving $40 every month. What about you? How much are you saving every month? How about you? This is you. How much are you saving every month? The answer must still be in the function. You shouldn't be overthinking this one. Just look at the function and tell me how much are you saving every month, or M. How much is being multiplied for each month? What's the number there? You shouldn't be solving for anything. Just look at this one and tell me how much is being saved monthly. Very good. 50. So this is the initial amount. Okay. So this is the initial amount and this is per month, right? You're saving 50 per month. Good. Okay. Now what about your friend? Can you tell me how much your friend initially had before saving $40 every month? Mm-hmm. Can you tell me how much your friend originally had before saving $40 a month? Anybody? I know, I just don't want to like give away the answers. You have to like discover this with me, okay? And I don't give shortcuts. I'd rather that you understand the concept so you can do it on whatever problem instead of I just teach you one example, but you don't know how to do it in another problem. Okay, so going back to my question, based on what we know so far and based on what Louise said, that she's saving, that his friend is saving $40 a month, right? How much money did your friend begin with, and how are you going to do that? Remember, this is the value for 2 months. For 2 months. And this is going up by 2. So then you go to month 0. Go to month 0, right? Because 2 minus 2 is 0. Now do the same thing here. What are you going to do? You're going to subtract backwards. You're going to subtract 80 and tell me how much money your friend began with or began with. Come on, think about it. You can handle that. I'm not going to give away the answer to that. hmm Keep trying and think harder. Don't just try. Try harder. Anybody? Still waiting. So your friend saves $40 a month because for every 2 months it increases here by 80. And we want to figure out how much money there was 2 months ago. 250? Yes. How did you get that, honey? So this is 250. Very good. 330 subtract 80. So I want you guys to understand what's going on in a table of values. The amount or rate of change going down should also be the same as the rate of change going backwards. That's very important. That's a very, very important concept. So any problem I give you, whether it's a museum or any other linear problem, it's the same thing. Okay, so that means this is yours and your friend's, okay? She had 250 to begin with according to Evelyn, and according to Louise, our friend is saving $40 every month. Okay, so I'm going to call this F of M because this is for our friend. Okay? All right. But are we answering the question? Our question is, Who has the better savings plan? Okay, now you're going to take a side. Are you saving better or your friend is saving more money? Can you type in the chat? When you become adults, you're gonna begin banking, or maybe some of you have started already. And when you go to banks, you have to compare their offers. Okay, so maybe a bank is offering this much um, interest, while another bank is offering that. So you have to compare. You're saving more money. Really? How? And how can you tell? How can you tell? Did you make a table of values? What did you do, Louise? I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just asking you to like explain so we can buy 10 more dollars. Okay. I you kind of lost me when you said by 10 more dollars. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what's happening to both functions at the same time. Okay? I'm going to show you I cannot graph by hand, guys, because I don't have an Elmo to show you, so I have to graph on the screen, okay? I'm so sorry about that. So, I got to use Desmos. All right, and see what happens. So, let's type in the two functions that we guys got. So, according to Louise and Evelyn, our friend had 250 initially and started saving $40 every month. Okay. I'm just okay, our decimals is okay, here we go. So our friend has um so our friend saves $40 every month and she had 250 initially. So that's the red graph right there. Okay. I'm going to put it down a little bit. Okay, now our bank account had, I forgot, how much was it? 150. Okay. So we had 150, but we're saving more each month. Okay, so if we were in the classroom, I would graph this by hand, but this is the best way I can show it to you right now. Okay, there you go. So why am I scrolling down? I'm trying to figure out, because right now the red one is higher than the blue one. Will we ever catch up with our friends' money? What do you think? I'm trying to find that spot and see what's going on. They're going closer to each other. So this is us, this is our friend, and our graph, the blue one, is almost getting to the graph of our friends. Okay. Oh, and it may not be obvious at this point, but at some point in time, they're going to cross, meaning you and your friend will have the same exact money. Can you figure out when that happens? Ooh, that's challenging. You should think about that. Oh, now, wow, what's going on here? What do you see? The graphs begin to split. The graphs begin to split. And now who's on top? You're on top now, right? Yours is the blue one. Okay, so did you see the the switch in the story? Your friend had more money to begin with. She had 250. But you began saving more, even if you only had 150 to begin with. And then after some time, you ended up with the same amount of money. Okay, when did that happen? I don't know. Maybe we can solve. So when does your friend have the same money as you? So what am I doing now? I'm putting them equal to each other. So let's subtract here. So when do you and your friend get the same amount of money? So 250 is equal to 10x plus 150. So now let's subtract 150. Okay. So That's 100 is equal to 10x. So when do you and your friend have the same amount of money? It's gonna be at x equals 10. Very good. So after 10 months, you catch up with your friend's money. But after 10 months, after catching up, you know, to that amount, I don't know how much would that be? So in 10 months, what's 5 times 10? 5 times 50 times 10, that's going to be 500. Now you add 150. Okay. So after 10 months, both of you have 650. Then the story turns around. You end up having more money than your friend, right? So you may begin with a small amount of money, but eventually you caught up. All right. So going back to the story, let's see what happens. Again, I'm so sorry. If I were in the classroom, I would really graph those one by one by hand, but that's the best way I could do it right now. So maybe you're wondering, okay, Ms. Arciaga, how do you graph that? So since we already figured out that by 10 months they have the same amount of money, so maybe you can create a table of values here for like 8. You continue making the 8, okay, up to 10. You're going to get 650 over here, and you would do the same thing for yours. So you're going to end up here with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But you have to use the function 50m plus 150. Okay, so you have to plug in each time, like 50 times 2, that's 100, plus 150, that's am I doing it right? Yeah, that's 250. And then this one will become that's 400, right? And then you become 550. Oh, no, 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 no. Sorry. You're you're saving $50 a month. So 300, 350. Um, no, wait. I messed up. So 250, and then this is 2 months. So that means for every 2 months, you save 100. So 350, and then 450, and then 550, and then 650. There you go. Because every month you save 50. So for every 2 months, right? For every 2 months, you save 100. Okay, so at 10 months, you end up saving 650. So on your 12 month, who has more money? So this is going up by 100 for every 2 months. So you have 750. And then your friend saves how much every 2 months? Soon, we're just finishing this. So this one will be plus 80, so you will have 730. So Luis, your guess was close. You said you'll have more amount of money, like $10 more, right? But we ended up having $20 more. Okay. All right. So for your homework, you have to focus on this worksheet, and you have to do the odd, or no, the even ones. Okay? I already did the problem solving for you. So that means you go back to the even numbered worksheets. Okay? All right. And before you leave, hang on. I need to take a picture because I wasn't able to do the chat. I'll take a picture of the list of participants. Don't go yet. Okay.
I would like to say that I know how to do this, but I just don't know how to say the mathematical form. When I
Okay.
do math, I just don't think of it the mathematical form. I just like to do math.
Yeah, I understand that. And that's one thing that's that's what the change is from like middle school math, when you just do the math, while in algebra you begin to like put the expressions together. Oh, by the way, you guys are free to log out if you guys have no more questions for me, because I already took a picture of your names on the screen. Yeah, so our goal is to be able to translate what we know, to algebraic expressions and equations. Bye, everyone. Yeah, so that's pretty much is the goal of Algebra 1. hmm And I get what you mean. A lot of students, you know, come into high school and say, oh, I got this. And then when I ask, how did you do it? I just got it in my head. Yeah. But when we take the S back in high school, it's not all multiple choice. You like have to show the work. Yeah, so how did you define your variable? What does this variable mean? And so on. So that's what we're trying to like learn this year. How do we translate what we learned before, what we know, into, you know, in the form of functions, in the form of equations, and stuff like that. And I do understand it takes a little bit of adjustment, and sometimes, when you're more comfortable doing one method, you don't want to switch to another method. Yeah, but it's not just me that's asking you to switch to that method, but it's it's the subject, it's